What's up, my friend? Welcome back to another video, and today is a special one because I'm going to be sharing an interview I did with my friend Jeremy. Jeremy is a very successful course creator, and he has a very successful business, and so it was a pleasure to kind of jump on an interview with him and basically share my personal process, how I go from lead generation all the way to passive income and creating that online income stream. So we'll basically reveal everything, like how to find your own niche, how to basically take that lead and nurture them, email list building, course creation, and everything like that. From start to finish, we'll uncover everything. So there's quite a few gems in here. I really hope you enjoy it. And again, if you stick to the very end, I've got a special gift for you. So definitely stick around for that. But without any further ado, I really hope you enjoy this interview with Jeremy.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for coming on the show today. We have a special guest, Christopher CU, with us, who is an expert in cinematic music creation and composing music. And we're going to get to hear his story today into his online course journey. And so I'm excited to have you on the show. How you doing, Christopher?
Very well. Thanks for having me, Jeremy. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. This will be a lot of fun, and I love music myself. I've been involved in music for a long time. I played music in middle school and high school, and it's always been a big component of my life. And I think this is a really, really cool topic: cinematic music for, I guess, like movies and things like that. So, just walk us back to the beginning. Like, what were you doing originally, and how did you get into music and composing? And then how did you eventually end up in the online course world?
Yeah, so I basically started out as, usually any kid would start out with music. My parents kind of gave me a choice of what I wanted to play, piano, violin, whatever. And so I went with piano. And I think growing up, I took a lot of classical piano lessons. And then eventually I went to university for classical piano performance, actually. And so when I was in, I think, my second year of university, I started my new YouTube channel. I previously had some other ones on different topics, but I knew that this one I really wanted to start because at the time I was starting to get into production music, or getting into, just producing on the computer. So that was a lot of fun. And I kind of wanted to share my own thoughts on that. And so I started the channel, and um, I basically made a commitment to myself to upload at least once a week. And I didn't know, why at the time, but I knew I wanted some sort of structure on the channel. So that was about 4 years ago now, starting at the end of 2017. And yeah, ever since I've been able to keep up with that demand I put on myself, upload at least a video a week. And during the pandemic, that gave me a lot of clarity because the pandemic basically shut down a lot of my in-person teaching business. And so it gave me a lot more time to sit back and really think about what I wanted to do. And then I realized that, yeah, I'm starting to build an audience on YouTube. I could really help them further with some in-depth material. And so that's how I came up with the idea of the course. And I knew I wanted it to be like a flagship course that really goes over my entire composing process and how to produce music, orchestrate it on the computer, produce a result that you're really proud of, etc. And it was also really good timing because at the time of university, I discovered another channel called Recording Revolution. And Graham, the host of that channel, started his business channel teaching how he started his own online business based on his YouTube journey. And I really resonated with his message and how he was doing things. And so I've basically followed a lot of his teachings down to a T, and I'm starting to see the results myself. So that was a couple of years ago. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun ever since, just to see things happening and stay consistent with YouTube and learning along the way. It's just been a really fun experience. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to the future and seeing what things have in store.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk about some of these strategies and really get into things that you've learned along the way and things that have helped you out on your journey. First, I would, like to ask you, would you say that posting consistently on YouTube once a week for the past 4 years has helped you grow this business? And what is it about that consistency that you think really helps with that business growing?
I think first of all, like, just being consistent is a mental thing in and of itself, right? Just because establishing a certain routine is not easy for everyone, and especially for us who are naturally disorganized, myself included. I think it really gave me an opportunity to put my foot down and say, like, okay, I really want to commit to this thing. And so once I knew I wanted to commit to that, I started to execute it. And over time, I saw that the audience was starting to grow. I never had a video really pop off super hard or go viral or anything. I think my most popular video is, 60, 70,000 views or something. Over time, over the course of these 4+ years now, it's started to grow that audience slowly but surely. And then a couple of times I did like a video a day for an entire month. Actually, I'm currently in the process of uploading a video a day for 3 months in a row. So I'm nearing the tail end of that, and I'm starting to see the results of that. But building that audience and then translating them to my email list was really the biggest thing that I wanted to take away from the channel growth. Because yeah, having the great numbers, having big numbers and all that is always nice, but it's not really going to translate to monetization very much unless you find a way to monetize them. And we all know that YouTube ad revenue isn't that great unless you have, that hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers. And so I really wanted to take that audience and bring them behind the wall, bring them onto an email list, and then sell them my products through there. And it's been working really well since. So I definitely do not regret putting in the effort and the time to doing that.
So thinking about to when you started 4 years ago and today as you create content, what has changed? So are you doing anything different? Are you researching keywords, or are the way that you are producing these videos, has that changed? Like if someone were starting a channel today and they wanted to start off on the right foot with their YouTube channel, what would be some recommendations that you could give?
Yeah, I love that question. I think a big thing is really starting with what you're passionate about. And then eventually over time, you start to really see what intersects with what people find valuable. So I knew when I started, I really loved, composing music and producing music, but I didn't really know how many people would find that valuable. And I was pretty fortunate to have a pretty vocal audience in that whenever I would upload something, usually within a couple of days, I would receive a couple comments, usually either affirming what I would do or asking for follow-up videos or critique or whatever it is. And listening to all those comments is always a good idea because you start to kind of refine your content strategy based on what people want, essentially. And so, yeah, I found that over these 4 years, especially in the past couple of months, actually, I've really started to see in the back end of my analytics what people are enjoying the most and what they're clicking on. And I've kind of found these common themes. Like people really enjoy product reviews, they enjoy orchestration tutorials, like how to use certain products. And so I think for the remainder of the year, I'm really going to try to hone in on those specific overarching areas and start to create more content there because I know that's going to guarantee more results. And if I can help people there, then I know I'm going to get them more results. And then as a result, I'll build the audience, the email list, and of course, sell more products. So that's all in the game plan for sure.
Okay, cool. And I know you mentioned, listening to the audience in the market and hearing what they're saying and what they want to create content. But do you have any ways or methods of choosing what videos or what types of videos it is that you're going to record for your channel?
Yeah, I think a couple of years ago I started creating content buckets. Like I knew the ideas I wanted to put out. So usually I would come up with four overarching ideas. Like for example, one on composing, one on product reviews, one on music theory, for example. And I would try to create a video a week, but vary it up so I met each of those topics once a month. And so over time, I kind of branched out that way and made sure that I covered different bases. But yeah, I found out like over these couple of months, these two topics of product reviews and orchestration tutorials really seem to work the best for my channel. And I don't know if it's specific keywords or something, but I found like those specific topics seem to resonate with my audience the best. And so I'm kind of brainstorming right now, like what can I do to really give them the most value from those topics? Maybe giving some additional topics as well to spread it out. But overall, I think I'm going to go in and focus on those more because they're just showing the best results so far.
Very good. So you are creating this channel, you're producing consistently, you have the schedule that you are sticking to and getting videos out. You've got these content buckets where it gives you a little variety. And I think that helps, with the person watching that it's not just the same thing all the time, that they are getting to
Right.
see different aspects, of the niche. And then you said that you created a lead magnet. So you created some kind of freebie to take people from YouTube into your email list. So, could you take a moment to explain what is the lead magnet? How did you come up with the idea? And then, what is the purpose of getting them onto that email list?
Yeah, so I think the very first lead magnet I put together was actually while I was still on MailChimp. And it was I think it was called like 10 steps to a clear orchestral sound or something. So it basically takes the composer through 10 unique steps that they can take to make their production sound as good as they can, from things like composing tips to orchestration tips to mixing tips. And I knew that was a kind of all encompassing lead magnet because it is valuable for the right person. But then the second lead magnet I put out was called My Cinematic Orchestral Libraries Guide. So it basically is like a buyer's guide for the composer who is getting into composing, but they don't really know what options are out there on the market in terms of virtual instruments. And so that guide is specifically catered to them who want, I guess, a curated collection of virtual instruments that I personally recommend and I use on a regular basis. And for people who follow my channel, we already talked about how it's a big topic for me. That's kind of the lead magnet I usually push the most. And a lot of my videos are based on product reviews. So I'll usually share that lead magnet in every single video I make in that topic. And so once they download that guide, I think in total I have close to 20 lead magnets now at this point because they're just a lot of fun to put together. And of course, it's free. So it's really low barrier to entry. People seem to lap it up pretty well. But yeah, after they go in, then I pitch my product over a few days. I give them more value, over deliver, and then over time, I pitch my flagship course, and if they don't purchase, that's totally fine. Then they go into my regular broadcast list, and then I can send them regular updates, regular value every week, and then eventually offer them something if I think it will help them.
Okay. And out of the 20 lead magnets or so that you've created, would you say that this plugin guide that you've created has been the most successful one?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this one for sure. And then I've tried, promoting a couple of others here and there, but this one has definitely converted the best, and I'm definitely not surprised. Yeah.
Okay, and awesome. And I'm assuming that in this guide, are you also putting affiliate links in there? So when you recommend a product, people purchase it and you can get a commission off of that too?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic, right? Because when it comes to the niche of orchestral music production, a lot of companies are still more traditional in that nature, and they haven't really, I guess, embraced or taken on the affiliate system yet. And this is something I'm trying to work out with specific companies. I've partnered up with some of them to give my students, for example, discounts if they enroll in my course. So we do that. I don't have too many affiliate links going on at the moment, just because again, the developers themselves or the companies haven't really been using that model yet. But that might change in the future, of course. Just depends on their team, I guess.
Yeah, it's a interesting idea that I've seen used to success before because it gives you another way to monetize your products and your services. So
Right.
anyone who is creating an online course and is thinking about using that type of lead magnet, if you can interject some affiliate links in there, it gives you another way to make a little extra cash on the side, which is pretty
Totally.
nice. Okay, cool. So someone comes into your email list and you're growing that email list. What do you do once they come in there? Are you nurturing them? Do you have some kind of automation set up that sends out, a handful of emails? Like, what do you do after someone enrolls?
As soon as they sign up, basically they are taken to a webinar page, which is an auto webinar. Like it's just on all the time. It's evergreen, and so I basically over deliver with a full masterclass on how to make their orchestral productions even better. And then at the end, I share my flagship course there. So even if they don't watch the whole thing, they'll still get a lot of value from it. But in terms of emails, I will basically send them their guide right away, a separate email, and then I will do the over deliver pitch at the same time. So I'll send them the guide, but I'll also send them an email containing that masterclass, that webinar. And then the next day, I will send them just an over delivery email with some additional material, but also a credibility email. So I'll share some of the things I've done and what they can kind of expect from me in the coming days. And then the second day after that is another over delivery email with more value. And then the third day is where I transition into the pitch. So I'll, promote the course, I'll share the benefits of it, what they'll receive, etc. And then days, I think it's like 4, 5, and 6 are all kind of different twists on the same pitch. So one of them is a testimonial email, one of them is sharing one of the bonuses, etc. Let's see. Yeah, I'm using a little bit of scarcity here and there with a bonus that kind of goes away after the first few days. But then at the end, they will receive one more email saying, do you want personalized feedback on your music? And that gives them a chance to join my waitlist for my private community, which I usually promote a couple times a year. So it's all in all, it's like a 10-day pitch. over deliver first and then pitch the product. And then at the very end, just give them a chance to sign up for the wait list. But then after that, they get put into my regular broadcast email list.
So let's talk about the webinar because you said that you went from the lead magnet into a webinar first. So my question to you would be why did you create a webinar and how does that help sell this course?
The entire mentality is like if someone is, finding my content and then downloaded the lead magnet, they've basically consumed at least two pieces of content. And then now that they're on my list, I just want to give them even more. So the webinar is essentially like a full 45-minute class on a specific topic in the composing niche. And it goes way more in depth. It gives them super practical information that they can really just run with and use right away. Even if they buy or don't, I want them to feel like they got value out of the class. And I strongly believe that, whatever you put out in the world, it comes back to you in a good way if people appreciate it, if they find value in it. It's really important. And so I'm trying not to hold back at all when it comes to this stuff. I really want to give them the best. And if they like it, if they use it, then naturally they'll be more likely to buy because they want to go deeper and they want to really take it seriously. So that's the whole point of the webinar there. And yes, they could access it really anytime because it is evergreen, but it's not like I'm sharing it every single week on my broadcast list or anything, or I'm not sharing it publicly, but it's something they receive right after opting in. So I just want them to feel loved. I want it to feel like something special that I'm giving them because it literally is some of my best stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with you that you should be sharing loads of value up front like this. I feel like the people that I've talked to, the people I've had on my podcast, dozens of people I've interviewed or talked to in the online course world, those that are successful seem to do that. They seem to provide tons and tons of value and really, help out with that relationship building with the audience. And then when they have a product to sell, they usually have an easier time selling that product versus the other person who has that scarcity mindset and they try to hold everything and they don't offer that information. So I really like that you said that. I feel like that's super important. Now, on the webinar, just out of curiosity, do you find a lot of people or any people who download the lead magnet and then go to the webinar end up purchasing right away? Like, do you ever see that? Or does that just help with the nurturing aspect?
Yeah. I think the way I see it, I basically do it for the nurturing aspect. I actually don't track the analytics for that. I don't really look and say, oh, this person watched the webinar and then, oh, at the 50-minute mark, they clicked buy or whatever.
Mhm.
I literally just kind of go through the analytics to see the conversions sometimes. So I'll see like, okay, 100 people signed up this day, so I'm expecting one person to convert, like that type of thing, and I'm going with a very general metric. So as long as the funnel seems to be converting well, that's all I really care about. I don't really, have a way of really tracking how the webinar itself is converting because again, I just see it more as like an over deliver and something they can go and run with. And hey, if they purchase after watching it, then that's perfect. But if not, that's totally fine too because I could still have an opportunity to offer it to them over the next week or so.
Very cool. So let's talk about your launch strategy because you mentioned that there's a wait list. So I assume that this is not an evergreen course someone can buy. It's something that you're launching multiple times a year. How does that look?
This course in particular is actually evergreen. They
Okay.
could purchase it on my website, but if they join my list, they do get a discount offer on it as a thank you. So that is there. In terms of the wait list, that's actually for my private membership community that I
Oh,
open
okay.
a couple of times a year. Yeah, so that one there, I do want it to feel exclusive because again, I'm interacting with my students there every week, and I want them to feel like I'm giving them my attention and not spreading it out super thin. And so I'll open that 2 to 4 times a year, depending on how things are going. And yeah, I find that's kind of a win-win for all of us. So if they don't purchase, but maybe they want exclusive access, then they can join that waitlist and they can make the decision when I do open it. But if they do want the course, then they can also purchase it anytime as well. It has options for both sides.
I see. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. And do you ever bundle these two together or is it always two separate things that they have to buy? So is it you can buy the
Right.
course and buy the community or just buy the course or just buy the community? Like, how do you have that set up?
Yeah. So I'm currently using Kajabi. So it basically has the regular offer where you can attach the product, but then the community I'll usually add as an upsell. So after they purchase, I will offer them the annual plan so they get 2 months free. And if they want to join that, then they are basically added to that as well right away. And so I found that, yeah, that usually converts maybe a couple percent from the people who purchased the course. A few of them added to the upsell, but yeah, it's just a really good way for them to get access to a community of composers right after they purchase something that's going to help them directly with their music at the same time. So it's something nice to offer them. And yeah, a few of them do take me up on it.
Yeah, I like this, and I like how you have streamlined it with Kajabi, so it makes it pretty simple to sell it and offer a secondary product basically, for someone else. So when someone signs up for the community, what is it that you offer to them? What are they getting? First of all, what do you use? Is it Facebook or is it one of these other platforms like Circle or Mighty Networks or something?
I'm using both the Kajabi membership and the Kajabi community together. And so I've kind of connected them and synced them up so that when someone purchases the membership, then they get access to the membership product, which contains all of the content and like monthly masterclasses and live coaching calls every month. And then there's also the community aspect, which they can interact with each other there, and they know that it's exclusive. So I'm not gonna be sharing that with everyone, and not anyone can join at any time. So it's just a nice place for them to just chat and grow with one another. And it gives me a really good chance to also see what kind of content my paid customers are looking for and what I can really create for them to take their training to the next level. And it's also great because I can take that information and also apply it to my free content, because I know if my paid customers want it, then my free customers will probably want that too. And yeah, it's a great way to do some market research, I think.
I love the community aspect. I just like the fact that you have a place where you can, again, talk with people, build relationships, build trust and authority. Like you said, ask questions. That helps make your program better. It helps with your marketing. Like there's so much that goes into that. I also like that you're using Kajabi. It's one of the platforms that I recommend because of its all-in-one functionality. So just real quick, usually I don't go too deep into, technology and software because I feel like anyone should use what they have available to them. But let's just talk about Kajabi for a quick second. So do you have everything set up through Kajabi? So is it your email marketing, your community, your membership? Like is everything done through there?
Yes, 100% of everything is on Kajabi. I used to use MailChimp only, and that was before I had any courses. I was only trying to build my list. And I think once I got to the 1800 mark or so, I knew I would have to start paying once I got to 2000. So I then switched to ConvertKit, and I realized that, yeah, I actually, once I get to that point, I do have to pay as well. So I was like, okay, fine. I was kind of more attracted to ConvertKit's workflow, and it seemed to be a better fit at the time. And then I realized as I continued to build more automations, the visual editor started to confuse me a little bit. And uh, at the same time, it was a little difficult to get hold of the live chat support, I have to admit. So that was one of the things that made me a little wary of it, even though it worked very well. Some of the functionality was actually a bit too advanced for me, I think. I'm a very simple person. I'm not techie at all. So I just wanted to work right away. And sometimes it got me frustrated. So what I ended up doing was when I went over to Kajabi, I basically switched everything over. And so now I don't have to add any like external tags. I don't have to do any weird integrations. Everything just works within the platform. And it just works. Like I really love the email editor because it uses that, when, then, if system, and there's no visual stuff to get in the way. It really is just a simple set of rules, and the automations are very powerful. And I found that I can do really anything I want right now using the platform.
Let's talk about your course. So, going back to when you first started, I want you just think back to like the beginning, like when you first started putting the course together. And we're gonna take someone through the journey, especially if they're a beginner listening to this and they are creating their first course or they're kind of struggling in that beginning phase. What was it like for you in the beginning? Like, how did you put your course together, and how did you figure out how to get everything working?
I guess one of the reasons why people maybe have trouble building courses sometimes is because they have that nagging feeling of, am I building something that people will actually resound with and find valuable, right? And you don't really know the true answer to that until you have an audience or you have people to ask. Even if it's just friends and family or people you think who might be interested in your topic, you can always start to put out some feelers and ask, is this a topic you might be interested in? Where are you feeling stuck? What would you like to be able to achieve with this certain skill? And really getting into the minds of certain people or your ideal customer, that can really give you a nice indication of, if you're headed in the right direction of your course. And so for me, I had been working on my channel for 2 years at that point, and I kind of knew what people wanted in a certain way. Even though it wasn't as clear as it is now, I kind of had an idea, and I knew I wanted the course to be my flagship all-in-one course. So I essentially put, I don't know, like 5 or 6 courses all in one. So it kind of talks about equipment, what you need, musician mindset, music theory, composition and orchestration, mixing, mastering, all that stuff into one course. And yeah, I mean, as my flagship course, it's doing great because again, it's in the funnel, so naturally it converts. But I've heard from a lot of students that they've really resounded with it, and I think it's because I was able to outline it with the exact topics that I knew I wanted to cover, but also topics that I knew people would really find valuable and helpful because of my YouTube stuff. And I knew the topics that they wanted more help with. So I think creating that outline is super important, making sure that you have a very clear idea of how you want to progress with it, the initial stages all the way to the end product, like what transformation you want that student to have. Because it really is all about them. You are just guiding them along the way. They're the heroes, so they have to make their way through from A to Z. You just have to hold out your hand to them and guide them through one step at a time. And if you can do that, then you're pretty much guaranteed to be successful, I think.
Perfect. Yeah, great answer. So, what are some strategies that you implement into your course to help get them that transformation? I know that one of the big problems with online courses and in this industry is completion rates, getting people to sometimes even take your course. It can be a challenge, but once they get in there, getting them to complete the curriculums and the modules, what are some things that you do inside of your course to help that student along?
That's always an interesting question because I actually don't really check on the student completion progress too much. I really care about, of course, the fact that they're inside and they made a great decision. But then what I want to do is give them a welcome video right off the bat to tell them and affirm them that they made a great decision. And then I also want to give them a step by step plan of how to progress through the material and make it so clear that they cannot get lost. I want to make it so like, oh, you're starting from module 1, you're going to make your way all the way down to module 9, watch every video in order. And yes, if you already know some of the stuff, you can always skip around, but generally you want to follow this framework. And then at the very end, I'll also give I'll do a conclusion video, and then I'll also ask them what their biggest takeaways were, what were their biggest wins, and that tends to get them thinking of, what they took from the course. But then all the way through, I'll also give them homework steps, like practical stuff to follow. And I think just giving them doses of encouragement every so often is very important because if they don't feel like they can do it, then they're not going to take action on it, right? So I think I'm using my most recent course as an example. I just released a course on how to play the piano for composers. And so in that course, my welcome video welcomes them. But in the very next post before the actual content, I shared a little bit about myself and then some objectives for them taking the course. So I'm like, by the end of this course, you'll be able to do this, 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 this. And then that post actually garnered the most comments, and people were like, "Oh, let's do this! I'm so happy to be here! Like, let's take action, etc." Because I think that they actually felt like they could do it, and I kind of laid it out in a clear manner for them. And I think that's super important. So if it feels intimidating for the customer, then they're probably not going to take it. But if it feels approachable and if it feels like they could do it, and you are on their side, then I think that they'll definitely at least take a chance. And yeah, they'll start to see results if they take the material seriously.
Great answer. So you have your YouTube channel set up. That kind of helps drive the traffic. That sends them to the lead magnets, which is kind of a free offer to get them into your world. You redirect them to a webinar. The webinar just helps build that trust and that authority and that relationship. You nurture them through a sequence, and then you promote your online course at the end. It sounds like a very solid funnel and a great way that you have set everything up. So I guess my next question is, are you doing anything outside of that funnel recently that you see that's working really well? Are you trying any other traffic strategies? Have you tried ads or social media or anything else that's working right now for you?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think the content marketing strategy has been the strongest. I've tried posting on social media. I've tried the occasional ad for one course launch back in, I think it was 2021 for, yeah, one course launch, but I don't think it helped that much. I honestly think content marketing is great. I mean, even though it does take commitment and time, you know that you're putting stuff out in the world that actually helps people. And at the end of the day, that's the best feeling, right? So I don't think you have to have ads in order to scale your business. It can certainly help to, to find the right customers, but at the end of the day, if you want your stuff to be found, then I think offering it is better than just appearing randomly on a certain page. So what I found did work recently though is I've been trying to do some giveaways, and I've partnered up with a couple companies now. So this is back to the product review stuff. They'll send me a library, but I'll also say like, oh, are you willing to maybe give one or two copies away to my subscribers? Yeah, they say yes. So what I did for this most recent product review that I did was I mentioned, yeah, I'm giving away a couple copies of this library, but all you need to do to enter is number one, join my email list. But I didn't really say it that way. I was like, oh, you just have to download this guide because then you're going to be on my email list. And this is where I can share regular free content with you and exclusive stuff that I don't really share publicly and all that. So it actually gives them an incentive. And I'll also tell them I'll announce the winners, via email as well, so that they know that they're part of an exclusive thing. And then secondly, I'll say, oh yeah, leave a comment in the video telling us what you would use this library for, what kind of music you would make with it, just to drive some discussion. But at the end of the day, I do want them on my list because again, I can nurture them there and of course give them my best stuff. But I found that, yeah, I was comparing, or I was looking on my analytics in Kajabi, and I found that my opt-ins really bumped up that day. I think the week prior, I was getting maybe 20 opt-ins a day. And then that day I launched a video, I got like 60. So that seemed to work. And then, yeah, it stayed up there for this week. And I'm looking forward to continue trying out these different giveaways and offering incentives and all that. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun just to see how it's been working so far.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. So thinking about the beginner, the person who's just, starting out on their journey and trying to create an online course, what would be your number one piece of advice that you would like to tell that person listening to this podcast today?
Yeah, I think what's really important is honestly to define your strategy in terms of content. I think content marketing is probably one of the stronger ways to do it because it's authentic. It helps you build credibility and trust, and it just helps people discover you in a very organic way. So I would say define what your content strategy is, and then don't worry about creating the product yet. Just make sure that you are delivering something that people actually want. And then you can start to refine your vision and what you want to build from there. Try not to build a product before you build content, because then you could be building something that no one actually wants. Just make sure you kind of hone in that vision over time, create that content, and then start to refine more and more what your people are looking for. And then take that feedback, that ongoing feedback loop as a result, and then funnel that into a training that you think could really help people and take them even deeper. And then once you start that content strategy, stay consistent with it because again, this is your marketing. You don't have ads running for you. You don't have other people shouting your name. Like you literally are your own brand and your own, content. So you have to be delivering it consistently and people have to come to depend on it because that's kind of how humans work, right? We see something we like, and if it's consistent, then we kind of think about it and we're like, okay, she's going to upload on Monday. Okay, I'm going to tune into that. And so over time, you start to build that audience, take that audience, capture their email, give them something super valuable in return, and then you can start to nurture them further on your list, and then eventually pitch to them and offer them something awesome. So really define that strategy and stay consistent with it is what I would say.
Very good. That's some great advice. And the one about, building the product before you have talked to your audience or figured out what they're interested in seems to be such a major one. Something that I've heard over and over again is, people go out and they create that thing, that product, and they try to sell it and have no one to sell it to, or they create the wrong product because they didn't listen to the audience. I feel like that's super important. So thank you for saying that. And, having that consistency, making sure that you're showing up every week and showing people that you're there and you're there to help them, I think is also very important. So just looking at your business and what you got going on now, where do you see yourself in the next, say, 5 or 10 years? Where would you like to take this company or grow your company?
Yeah, so my company is officially just over 1.5 years old. As of now, I've made around, let's say 70, 80,000 total. And I'm hoping this year specifically, I can scale to 6 figures because I have a stronger promotional calendar. I kind of know what I want to share and I kind of know what I want to build next year as well. And so just with the increased amount of traffic and the amount of products and stuff that I'm sharing and promoting, I think I might be able to reach that goal. This launch that I just had in February was the most successful one yet that I had. I guess I just hit the right niche there with the piano course, but I'm looking forward and I'm hoping that I continue to have things to offer every single year. And I definitely want to ramp up my audience with the content strategy, really refine again, find the topics that really resonate the most with the audience. In terms of an actual number, I don't really have one. I just want to be able to support myself 100% from my online business. And that would mean the world to me. And so I'm on that journey every single day. I know you've already reached that many times, so that's always a something to look forward to. But yeah, I think just taking one step at a time and being patient with it is definitely important. Not to rush things and make rash decisions.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll get there. I think you're doing great things. I think you have the foundation set up, and that to me is one of the harder parts is the beginning,
Right.
starting out, not knowing what your audience wants. You don't have, Kajabi set up with all the things. You don't have the
Yeah.
automations. You don't have a system. You don't have consistency, a schedule. You've built all that. And now that you've laid the foundation, you can build upon that foundation. And you just had a successful launch, but that's because you've learned so much along the way. And every time that you create a new course or you refine your product, it's just going to get better and better and better. And then you'll start seeing exponential growth. It just won't be linear. It'll be exponential. And I really do think that you're going to blow it up. And I think you're in a great, fun niche. And I know that you got some great content. So I just appreciate you coming on the podcast today. And if anyone wanted to check out your online course or whatever you have going on out there, where can they do that?
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Honestly, if you're interested in composing music or using virtual instruments, feel free to check out my channel on YouTube, Christopher Siu, SIU. And yeah, if you enjoy the content, feel free to download any of the guides. Again, the most popular one is my sample library buyer's guide, which you'll see under every single one of my library reviews. And yeah, that basically categorizes all my libraries into specific sections, and it has all the prices included and also personal recommendations of how to actually use those libraries. So you kind of know what you're getting into. A lot of my students have found that the most digestible guide I think I have. And I could definitely recommend that. But yeah, definitely check out the channel if you are interested in that stuff. And if you want to go further, definitely download the guides. And then you might find the course useful as well if you want to go even deeper.
Perfect. Well, I'll make sure that I link everything up in the show notes for people so you can go check that out today and click on those links and go check out what Christopher has going on. Again, thanks for coming on the podcast today. You dropped some really great knowledge and information for our listeners out there. I know that people are going to find it really valuable, and I just hope you the most success going forward in the future.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
All right, my friend, that was the interview. Thank you so much again for listening. I really do appreciate it. And big thanks again to Jeremy for having me on. So hopefully there's a couple little nuggets in there that you can start taking out and applying to your own business. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them as a comment below. I'm more than happy to help there. And your engagement always keeps me uplifted. So I'm always appreciative of any thoughts you might have. And if you're really thinking about starting your business though, like you're listening to this podcast and you think, okay, well, that's all well and good, but I actually don't know where to get started. Like what softwares would I need to use to actually host my courses and build my email list and host my lead magnets and all that good stuff? Then I always recommend Kajabi because it really is that all-in-one platform that makes it so cohesive and really easy to host everything under one roof and basically just focus on building your content and running your business. So Kajabi themselves, they give you a 14-day free trial to try things out. But if you use my link in the description box below, I actually want to give you double that free trial. So I'll give you 30 days, a full month to try it out for free. On top of that, I also want to give you 2 mini courses just as a thank you for using my link below. So the first one is called Kajabi in 30 days. And this is essentially where I outline how to use Kajabi in a very practical way. And you can really just binge that whole thing and start running your business within a couple of days if you really put what you learn there into practice. And it's an absolutely free mini course that you'll get as soon as you sign up using my link below. The second one is called Content Marketing for Creative. So that one is focused on how I actually use content marketing to build my brand and build my audience and eventually sell them my products. And it's a really great long-term play because it's a really great foundation for your online business. So I want to give you that mini course as well, absolutely free. And you can email me your receipt once you become a paying member of Kajabi, and I will grant you access to that course right away. So those are the 2 courses I want to give you, plus that 30-day free trial if you use my affiliate link. Just so you know, if you do use it, part of your payment will come back to support me when you do become a paying member. There's no obligation, of course, to use it, but I do appreciate it if you do decide to. And of course, you get double that free trial, so why not just give it a shot for longer? But anyway, thank you so much again for watching. Let me know if you have any thoughts about the podcast, any questions you might have, and I'm more than happy to answer. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.